This is Keep On Cooking, a podcast for people who love cookbooks and want to know more about the authors. It's also a great place to get a weekly dose of culinary inspiration to keep things pumping in the kitchen. So grab a cookbook and keep on cooking. I'm Dustin Harder, and this is Keep On Cooking. Hello and welcome to Keep On Cooking, the only podcast dedicated to plant-based cookbooks. I'm your host, Dustin Harder. And listen, I'm just over here falling into fashion. Not really. I'm over here by myself today, but I looked in the camera and realized I'm wearing a Judd's hat and a Reba McEntire t-shirt. I am falling into 90s female country fashion is what I'm falling into over here. And we're going to get right into it this week. It's just me, a little solo look into a project I've been working on quite a bit for the last 2 years. And I've mentioned it on this podcast. It's called Universal Meals. And I'm specifically doing an episode on it because we are in the month of November, which means we've got the eating holidays upon us, right? Where everybody wants to make food for everybody. And I love that so much. To me, giving the gift of food is just like one of the most beautiful things you can do. I have been brought to tears before. I have a certain friend of mine that has DoorDashed me food a couple times as a thank you. And I have texted her and I have cried literally when the food arrives at my door, because I find I love cooking for people and I do it all the time. So that when someone does it for me, it really just like is such a huge gift. And I'm very overwhelmed by the generosity of it. It makes me feel so seen in a way. But anyway, enough about, if you want to give me things, clearly that I'm saying, everybody give me food. That's the weight of my heart. But so I wanted to talk more about Universal Meals because I have introduced it on here before. I've talked about it a little bit, but I wanted to really making an episode because it is plant-based options that are also void of the top 9 allergens. So you can feed everyone at the table, basically. And we say that about this program. So it is presented and built by the Physicians Committee. And our tagline for it is everyone has a spot at the table. And that's true, right? And it's void of the top 9 allergens. With that, we've got milk, wheat, eggs, tree nuts, soy, fish, shellfish, sesame, and peanuts. We've got a little bit of a hiccup here in this program here because it does have coconut in some of the recipes. But we're working on shifting that, or at least giving you a non-coconut option. And some of you might be saying, why? What do you mean coconut? Well, let me tell you. So I'm going to give you some behind the scenes here as I'm diving into Universal Meals. I presented Universal Meals at a conference in the spring, a conference for food service for universities and colleges. And I was talking to the room and coconut came up and I said, oh, well, it's in the recipes because it's not a nut. And they were like, oh no, actually it's a tree nut. And then a whole other side of the room was like, no, it's a fruit. And I was like, okay, well, who's right here, right? And then a registered dietitian I was working with stood up and said, well, actually, the FDA identifies it as a tree nut, but it's actually a fruit. And I'm sure there's some of you listening right now that are like, no, wait, it's actually this. And that's fine. Everyone can feel how they want to feel about this, but I'm doing my part here on Universal Meals. And I'm going through all the recipes now and working with the team. And any with coconut, we're identifying a non-allergen option that you can put in there in its place. So we're working on it for you. We're making it friendly for everyone. This is a program that continues to grow and grow, which is what I love about it. The more we learn about it, the more we learn about allergies, religious practices, and cultural backgrounds, the better we can make this program for everybody. So, of course, you can reach out to us at universalmeals@pcrm.org. And myself and a couple of colleagues check that inbox. And you can, if you see a recipe and you're like, wait, but it has this in it. And I thought, what can I do instead of this? We're happy to answer that question. That's why it exists. There's also an advisory council that helped build this program. So we have a diverse advisory council that helped build the program in the beginning. It has doctors, dietitians, allergy specialists, food experts, and chefs that are on it. And they sort of created the first round of recipes, which was about 30, 40 recipes maybe. And over the last 2 years, I've expanded that to over 150 recipes. And we've done a lot of great work with the recipes, and we've gotten into some institutions. There's some hospitals that serve it. There's some universities that serve it. But of course, we've got all the recipes available for the home cook. First and foremost at universalmeals.org. If you just click on the recipe tab and then click on get recipes, you're taken to over 150 recipes. So, as I said, void of the top 9 allergens, good for some religious practices. I will say, on the note about religious traditions, people from a Jewish tradition often avoid pork or shellfish. Those from a Muslim tradition often avoid pork and alcohol. Those from a Hindu tradition avoid beef, and most avoid meat and eggs. And Ethiopian Orthodox Christians avoid animal products 2 days each week and during Lent. So there is a wide array of religions to consider. And our program does cover most religious traditions, but meals, for example, like meals can only be made kosher or halal when companies have made the necessary arrangements. And with the range of religious observances being so broad, the religions may include practices that are not accounted for by universal meals. So that's a good time to shoot us an email if you're working with a specific religion, and we're going to reach out to someone on our advisory board who is in the religious sector, and they're going to help us make sure that we get it right for you. So even if you need to check it out for religious purposes, it's there for you too. And we can help you navigate that and help you find a specialist that can help you navigate it even further. But if you're looking at this for allergies, that's what I'm going to be talking about this a lot for today, because these are great for the holiday. There's stuff for, game day in here. We got appetizers. There's stuff for breakfast. So if you're having, family over and they're sleeping over for 2-3 days over the holidays, you've got stuff you can put on the table for breakfast. We've got side dishes, so you can take side dishes galore to your holiday parties as you go. We also have desserts. There's some great cookies in here you can take for desserts. And if you're just looking for ways to keep it right and tight and healthy during your weekday, we've got some salads and bowls. And then if you're throwing a nice dinner party, we've got entrees on here that you can share with people. So let's just dive into this. Again, plant-based, void of the top 9 allergens. I gave you a little background on the program. So in the breakfast category, we have a super delicious banana bread in here that we've actually served at our conference in DC at the International Conference on Nutrition and Medicine. We do that in August. And this banana bread went over so great this last year. And it's your simple, basic banana bread recipe with a gluten-free flour. We've got a blueberry banana oat muffin, and this is by our friend Ashley Madden at Rise, Shine, Cook. That's fun about this too. So this program has different recipes in here by some different chefs, a lot by me, but then different chefs. To me, it is like one big cookbook. I mean, you can go to the website, you can print these recipes, you can get the link and send the links on to friends. You can do anything you want with these recipes. You can send them on to family and friends that are going, you're coming for the holidays. What do I do for you? You can be like, well, I love this banana bread, and I think everybody will enjoy it. And then bam, you've got a recipe that you've shared that they can make. And we also have thrifty recipes in this platform. So those are marked with a yellow sticker, and a thrifty recipe comes in at $1 or less per serving. So we are on breakfast right now. We got best banana bread, blueberry banana oat muffins. That's by our friend Ashley Madden of Rise, Shine, Cook. Blueberry crumble muffins, cauliflower scramble. Now, not many people use this one. This was I got a little wild on this one. This is using roasted cauliflower as your egg base. So no tofu, because that's got the soy, right? No tofu, no just egg. You can use, though I think just egg, if I'm not losing my mind here, is void of the top 9 allergens. If you wanted that, you can go for that as well. If you want a very veggie forward version, this is a cauliflower scramble, and it's got veggies mixed in with it, some spices in there. You roast the cauliflower, you mix the spices in, got yourself a veggie forward. You're getting your veggies in while you're getting your morning breakfast in with your scrambled air quotes eggs as well, right? We've got an enchanted smoothie bowl. We've got fruited quinoa. We have another glow bowl morning smoothie. Also a Mexican sweet potato pepper hash. Now, this Mexican sweet potato pepper hash we have served again at that conference. It has gone over so well. Another one we've served at the conference that people ask for the recipe for every time after they have it. Fluffy golden waffles, and those are by our friends at Spork Foods. So I think I mentioned earlier, Heather and Jenny of Spork Foods contributed a lot of recipes to this as well in its first incarnation. And so we've got those fluffy golden waffles by them. I love these waffles. I don't typically make them myself at home because they've got some corn flour and Well, it says arrowroot. I have that. Oat flour, I've got that. I think it must be the corn flour I don't really keep on hand. But it's a really, really great recipe. Corn flour is not too. I should make these then at home because I love them. Corn flour is not too hard to find. That's fine. That's easy. That's easier than I thought. Look at that. I've got a recipe I did for gluten-free buttermilk pancakes in here, a 1-to-1 gluten-free baking flour in there, and then basically traditional sort of pancake ingredients. You got milk, apple cider vinegar. There's a lot of on these, since they are with PCRM, I give you the oil option, but then you can also do it without oil if you want. So this pancakes are a great example of that. You can do it with or without the oil in here. We give you the option. We tell you how to do it oil free. One of my favorite recipes that I have in here is a nut-free cluster granola. I love this recipe. Nut-free cluster granola. The trick is after you bake that granola, everybody, to get those clusters, you got to let it sit. You got to let it cool. I love me some granola. So I don't actually make this much anymore because I don't like to have it sitting around the house because I will eat it all. David actually has to he'll eat granola, but he's good at portioning it for himself. He'll have a little bowl and then, not have any until a day or another day later. If that bag opens in front of me, I'm a disaster. I have a relationship with Michelle's granola. If you haven't had Michelle's granola, I highly recommend Michelle's granola. You can get it at Whole Foods. Any flavor you'll fall in love with. I promise. I love me some Michelle's granola. And they're so kind and they send me things from time to time. And our last exchange, they were like, when you're ready for some more, let us know. And it's like, oh, I'm always ready for it. But I cannot have them send me any because I will eat all of it so quickly. I love granola so much. And it's all good stuff for you, right? But like those calories add up sometimes especially with them nuts and seeds and all that stuff. But this is a nut-free cluster granola we have for you here in universalmeals.org. And I just love it. It's a great way to have an allergen-friendly granola. And there's things that you're looking for. So there's going to be oats in here, right? And when you're looking for gluten-free, you're like, wait, aren't all oats gluten-free? Sure, but a lot of them can be produced in a facility that has gluten in it. So you're only going to have a gluten-free oat if it says certified gluten-free on the bag. So if you're searching for gluten-free oats, you want to be sure if you're dealing with celiac or something of that nature, you want to make sure you're getting the one that is certified gluten-free. Okay, now we have the oil-free banana strawberry breakfast cookies. I put this recipe in here. I used to make it for some clients I had here in Atlanta. Their son was a very picky eater, would not eat much. He loved these cookies. Love them. And they're fairly healthy for you. They're actually a really great breakfast cookie and so easy to make. It's got oats, and then it's got the cinnamon, baking soda, a little cream of tartar, maple syrup, vanilla extract, applesauce, and mashed banana, and then the sliced strawberries. So easy. And then you just spoon them out and bake them off. So good. We got a smoky jackfruit hash. That's from our dear friend Natalie Slater. You all know her, very good friend of the pod. We're already talking about other episodes we can do together. I love her so much. But that is from our Chef Spotlight category. So I mentioned the recipe by Ashley of Rice Shine Cook and this one by Natalie. That's in our Chef Spotlight category. So we have a cool category where some chefs have put some recipes in over the last year. We've got some veggie quiche bites in here. Yum, yum, yum. And then a warm peach cobbler overnight oats. Now listen, that's a me recipe. You can do them overnight and you can eat them cold, or you take the oats as they are, you spoon out your portion of it, and you can warm it up however you want in a skillet, or you can put it in the microwave. So that's a great thing about overnight oats. I had someone say to me once, oh, well, I don't like overnight oats. I don't like them cold. And I was like, well, if you just want your oatmeal to be ready, go ahead and make yourself some overnight oats. And then you can microwave that stuff if you prefer warm oats. No problem. Zucchini. Cracking myself up. Zucchini cornbread muffins is the last thing we have under breakfast here. I'll tell you, I did a lot of photos for these too. And as I'm looking through this, I really love this photo for zucchini cornbread muffins that I did. So yummy. Now we're going to move on to the appetizer section. I told you we've got stuff for game day. But really for any game night, game day, I guess I mean Super Bowl, but whatever. I wasn't watching the Super Bowl. But if one of these were at a Super Bowl party, I might go there just to eat it, but not watch the game, except for intermission. Come on, halftime show. All right, we got a baked buffalo cauliflower bite. Exactly what it is. So delicious, baked, gluten-free, crispy. These cute little mini tacos that have quite a few elements to it, but are really fun for a party, like party with like past appetizers. We did these. I did these at the San Jose Convention Center, and then I also did these at the Hyatt for our conference. And it's barbecue jackfruit tacos with avocado crema and pickled vegetables. Ooh la la! It's these mini taco shells with the barbecue jackfruit in them, and then an avocado crema that's just like a whipped avocado cream, a little avocado, little apple cider vinegar, and then we've got pickled onions on top of it. So a cute little pop up pink at the top too. Just so good. And so fun to pass around. And what I do is I take a lime wedge, I cut off one side of it so it sits easily, evenly, and then I cut one lime wedge out, and then you sit the taco right in it, and it sits up. You'll see if you go to the website, there's a picture of it just like that. But it's so fun to serve them like that. And then save your limes, make a little juice later on or something, with your limes. I made the best tangent here. I made the best little like lime quick lime cheesecake yesterday. It was silken tofu, like a cup of lime juice, sugar-free vanilla pudding, and that might have been it. I just had major dental surgery, so I'm on a soft food diet. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't eat all of this. I want to eat it all right now. It was so good, so quick, so easy. We got a classic guacamole in here. Now, one of my favorites is this creamy buffalo jackfruit dip that I have in here. And this is a good example of using beans for your creamy base instead of cashews. It's got the jackfruit, it's got onions, it's got red pepper. All of this stuff is sauteed together. It's got celery sauteed with the jackfruit, get a little sear on the jackfruit, and then you're going to mix together some beans, oat milk, and buffalo style hot sauce into a blender to get a creamy consistency with it. Mix that all together with your sauteed goodies, and you've got a delicious creamy buffalo jack dip you can serve with veggies or tortilla chips, whatever you'd like. We have a crispy baked falafel on here, and then a French onion dip. Again, a white bean base. I love, love, love this French onion dip. It's so good. An oil-free hummus on here. I think you've got the option to do it with or without oil. And then we've got loaded sheet pan nachos on here, and these loaded sheet pan nachos have some accoutrement that you'll put on. So you've got Universal Meals quick sunflower queso you can use, or you can use a store-bought vegan queso if you want. There's a Universal Meals salsa fresca you can use on top of these, or again, store-bought salsa. Or you can use store-bought sour cream, vegan sour cream, or Universal Meals sunflower sour cream. Lots of great options to build your nachos with on here. Another great recipe that always goes over well when I do trainings with these recipes is the mushroom risotto arancini. And this is a recipe by the Sport Foods, friends at Sport Foods there. Got a 7-layer party dip. Love that. And then there's this bread called saka bread. Have you ever heard of it? It might be saka bread. There's a great recipe that I've made in here for it before. And it turns out really well. You put it in like a skillet to make, and it's just made with chickpea flour. So easy to make. You put it in a skillet, and it's thin and crispy. It's great to dip into hummus. So yummy. So yeah, saka bread. Saka. Someone want to tell me out there? I feel like I'm not doing this justice, and that makes me feel bad. It's sort of like an unleavened pancake or a crepe made from chickpea flour. Originated in Italy, and now everyone's eating it. I don't know if everyone's eating it. It was on the website before I got there, but I tested it just to make sure it was yummy and delicious. And turns out it is. We have a great spinach and artichoke dip in here. Love the spinach and artichoke dip. And then we've got ultimate baked potato skins. Now, we made these skins a lot more when we first put these recipes together for this. We haven't made them to pass them out because like keeping them heated and serving them is always like a thing when we're at like a conference or something. But they are yummy. They've got quinoa bacon bits on them, and they've got the sunflower sour cream on them. They're so good. And then our carrot cauliflower cheese sauce on them. So lots of good stuff on those baked potato skins. This takes us into side dishes. Now listen, we're looking at holiday stuff, right? There's a cool recipe on here with Cajun quinoa with okra and tomato, by Tracy McQuarter of Ageless Vegan. Such a easy recipe and so delicious, and a great one for the table. Classic mashed potatoes, cornbread, creamy potato salad for everyone. We got crispy smashed potatoes with sunflower dill cream, one of my absolute favorites. Another favorite that I'm actually teaching at my Universal Meals holiday class coming up in Chicago is the garlicky sweet potato and kale mash. Great way to get your greens in. Great pop of garlic in there for that yummy, yummy flavor. And sweet potatoes. I used to not love sweet potatoes, but I do like them. And now I like them even more. Mix them with some greens and some garlics. Garlics, plural. The cool thing about this, so I just said I'm doing a class on November 18th in Chicago at the Chopping Block. It is sold out. So thanks to everyone who's shown up. I can't wait to see you and cook with you. But it's with Physicians Committee, and we're gonna do all Universal Meals recipes. So it's so fun to do a class, because sometimes when I teach a recreational class at a cooking school, no matter what disclaimer you put on the site for the class, someone shows up and they go, "Oh, actually, like I'm gluten free," or "Oh, actually, I'm allergic to nuts. Can we?" And it's really hard to make those adjustments in class when you're cooking for 20 people and everybody needs to get the hands-on experience. So what's cool about these Universal Meals recipes is I never have to worry about that when I teach these classes. Everybody usually comes in and they're so excited, especially if they have allergies. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I can eat everything here tonight." Okay, moving on with sides, because we got some great holiday stuff here. Green bean casserole, everybody. We got a lemony kale rice, red beans with rice and collard greens, shredded Brussels sprouts. Shredded Brussels sprouts with Dijon lemon vinaigrette. Okay, I like these, but next to that, I also created a smoky Brussels with shiitake bacon. If you're going to pick one of the two, you better pick those smoky Brussels with shiitake bacon, baby. Take that to the table. People going to be loving it, I promise you. The Brussels have a little bit of smoked paprika in them as you sear them, and then you put the shiitake bacon on top. Everybody is wowed the whole time. Now we got two stuffing options, because stuffing is like always a thing, right? We've got the stovetop rice stuffing in here. So it's made with some wild rice on the stovetop, a little bit of dried cranberries thrown in there, celery, carrots, all that good stuff like that. And really some like poultry seasoning. That's sort of what takes these stuffing recipes home. And then veggie cornbread dressing. So you heard me say earlier in the sides, we've got cornbread in here, which is delicious, fluffy, moist, easy to make. Well, then you can also take that and make a veggie cornbread stuffing with it, which I love, 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 love. Maybe I'll do that this season. It's interesting. For Thanksgiving, I'm going to my cousins, and none of them really resonate with eating vegan. And I've taken vegan food many, many times. I had one of them say to me, "Well, I don't know why we'd buy your book. We don't eat vegetables." And I was like, or we don't eat, nobody eats vegan. I was like, "But you eat vegetables, right? Like, just buy my first book, Simply Vegan Cookbook, and there's vegetables in it, I promise. And I bet your family eats some vegetables." Anyway, good times going home for Thanksgiving, gonna see the fam. But my sister's been eating more plant-based. David will be eating plant-based. And what I used to do is like make so much food for everyone so that we had something to eat. But my new plan is this: I'm just going to make plates for me, my sister, and David, because it's a lot of work, and I cook all the time for a living. So I'm going to, this year, I'm paring it down. I'm going to make some plates for me, David, and my sister, and that's going to be that. It's going to be delicious, and I'm going to feel really good about it at the end of the day. Now, normally I would love this opportunity to share vegan food with everyone, but I share vegan food with everyone all the time. So that's the route I'm taking this year, and I don't feel bad about it. I don't at all. I'm going to make sure, because there was a Thanksgiving where David and I were at once with our family, and a family member said, "Oh, well, everyone can try this," to our 3 vegan dishes to their 6 like non-vegan dishes. And I was like, and then David and I turned around and it was almost all gone before we put food on our plate. So I was like, the lesson is to fill our plates up first, but also maybe this year I'm just not going to take a bunch of vegan dishes for everyone. I feel like I'm being judged right now. If you're judging me, I'm sorry. I made a choice and I'm sticking with it, and I feel good about it. I say I'm sticking with it. I can't help but cook for people. Who knows what I'll end up doing. Okay, now we're moving on. We're moving on to those salads and bowls, baby. So we got a breezy burrito bowl, a chickpea salad, a 5-vegetable pad thai, and a glass noodle salad with stir-fried vegetables. And now this one I love. This one, it's a Greek chopped salad, and I just love it because it's a Greek salad. And I made a feta in a feta cheese, a feta air quotes cheese, because it's really seeds put together with some chickpea miso. And already you're probably going, chickpea miso, what are you talking about? Totally. Chickpea miso is hard to source. It's only in a couple recipes, and we're actually trying to take it out. But if you don't have a soy allergy, then I say just get some white yellow paste and make this feta cheese because it's delicious. Crumble it up on your Greek chop salad. So good. We've got an herbed white bean and quinoa bowl, a Japanese pasta salad with roasted kabocha squash. Now, this is by our dear friend Lauren Toyota of Hot for Food. She submitted this for the Chef Spotlight. Love that. Magic macro bowl. So it's got all the things you want. It's got some cabbage, some pickled cabbage. It's got lentils. It's got vegetables. It's got avocado. It's got kale. It's got grains. So good. And then a marinated white bean salad by our dear friend Janae Claiborne over at Sweet Potato Soul. Love that so much. And then Only Kale Can Save Us Now salad. Now, we have had Michelle Schwegman of Herbivore Clothing on to talk about her book, her and her husband Josh Hooten's book, Eat Like You Give a Damn. They have this kale salad in there called Only Kale Can Save Us Now. And I am not joking you when I tell you it is my favorite kale salad on the planet. So I reached out, I said, hey, listen, could we maybe throw this on Universal Meals? We may have had to make a couple adjustments to make it allergy friendly. But man, I love it so much. I love it so much. It's just a simple dressing to make. In this case, it's got coconut aminos base with some nutritional yeast and hemp seeds. I can't remember what else we've got. This we use sunflower butter, but it usually has tahini in it. So you just gotta check it out. It's just a really easy dressing to make. It's tangy. It's rich. It's delicious. It's just great. And you massage your kale, and then you toss some more hemp seeds on there for a little crunchiness. So yum yum yum. I'm trying to think though. For the coconut aminos, like I said, we're working on options for taking that out. There's a brand called Ocean's Halo, and that has a soy-free soy sauce that also does not have coconut in it. So that's an option if you want to sub out tamari soy sauce or coconut aminos. The Ocean's Halo, I believe, is the name of it. Next one is a rainbow crunch salad. That's almost like a pad thai salad. So it's got a bunch of crunchy vegetables, all thinly chopped, and then a sunflower seed based dressing, sunflower butter seed based dressing. So that's what a lot of things where it called for like a nut butter or something, or where it would traditionally call for nut butter, we use sunflower butter instead. So that is one of them. So you still get those nice pad thai flavors that you want in that rainbow crunch salad. And the last salad on here is the summer salad by our girl Ashley Madden, again from Rise Shine Cook. And this is just chock full of so many nutritious and delicious things with a very easy dressing. The dressing is made of lime juice, chili powder, smoked paprika, a little cayenne pepper, and salt. And then the salad's got quinoa, red onion, red bell pepper, yellow bell pepper, tomatoes, fresh or frozen mango, thawed if it's frozen, of course, avocado, and spinach. And it is so good. I'm not joking. It is so delicious. I love this salad so much. And that is our salads and bowls section, everybody. Reminder, you can get all this stuff for free over at universalmeals.org. We're moving on to soups and stews. Lots of good stuff in here, like a chipotle butternut squash soup, classic minestrone, cream of broccoli soup, creamy black bean tortilla soup, creamy chickpea pot pie soup. Now, this is a variation of one of my recipes, and this one we use chickpeas to get the creaminess where we would have normally used cashews. So you just blend up some chickpeas until you get a nice puree. You mix that into the soup so it gets a little creamier, right? Hot and sour soup, Moroccan stew. That's by let's see who this is by here. This is a Chef Spotlight recipe by Timothy Packren, a Mississippi vegan. By the way, Mississippi Vegan, shout out. So his first book, which I think is just called Mississippi Vegan. When I was a kid, my mom took me to this place. I think it was called Burgers. And I would always get the Salisbury steak. Salisbury. And I remember I loved TV dinners with Salisbury steak when I was a kid. I don't know what it is, but loved them. Timothy, in his book Mississippi Vegan, has a Salisbury steak recipe. Not Universal Meals friendly, very gluten heavy. But I'm just sharing. If Salisbury steak was your thing, you want to go get that Mississippi Vegan book, because I've probably made that Salisbury steak from there maybe 4 or 5 times. That's a big deal for me to return to a recipe that much. Okay, next we've got a mushroom bisque. And then one of my ooh la la favorites, one pot red lentil dal. Love it so much. Protein Power 3-bean chili. And then another red lentil one that I love by Spork Foods, red lentil soup with spicy gremolata. I've made this one quite a few times for different events, and I just love it so much. And that pop of the spicy gremolata, ooh, you put a dollop of that spicy gremolata on the top. The gremolata has parsley, garlic, lemon juice, chili flakes. It's nice and spicy and earthy and fresh. And on top of that delicious and very savory and rich red lentil soup that's got a lemon juice that makes it also pop. Oh, it's all just so yummy. We've got a roasted tomato and garlic soup, smoky chickpea stew with kale, smoky potato soup, southern style gumbo. Another chef spotlight here by my friend Chef Chloe Coscarelli, a sweet corn jalapeno soup. So good. I will say about almost all these recipes, everybody, are one pagers. So let's get into it. So easy to make. Taco Tuesday black bean soup, truffled white bean soup. These are by friends of PCRM, recipe Chef Todd Gray and Ellen Kassoff of Equinox Restaurant in DC. So they put in that truffled white bean soup here. Very fast veggie lentil soup. And then rounding out our soups and stews section is yellow tomato and pineapple gazpacho. Now listen, I feel like my head has been stuck in Universal Meals for 2 years, and I feel like this is the first time I've seen this recipe or something, because now I can't wait to make it. It looks so good. I'm not a fan of gazpacho soup. That should be warm, but sometimes I see one. This yellow tomato and pineapple gazpacho looks like it could be a go-to for me. It looks so yummy. I will tell you, I had a gazpacho on vacation. When we were in Puerto Vallarta, I had a gazpacho there. It was a cucumber and melon gazpacho. I loved it. Loved it. Maybe in my old man years, I'm going to become a gazpacho aficionado because I really liked it. Okay, moving on to our handheld section, one of my favorite sections. Who doesn't love to hold up their food and eat it? This guy does. We got barbecue chickpea burgers, also Brussels and black bean tacos, hearts of palm untuna salad that you can use to make a sandwich, of course, hearty veggie burgers, hearty veggie wraps, pulled jackfruit and mushroom barbecue sandwiches, shiitake eggplant wraps. This is another contribution from Timothy Packard at Mississippi Vegan. And then sloppy lentil joes, classic. And then tacos tres hermanas. So that's our handhelds. I will say one of my favorites out of here is the Brussels and black bean tacos. It's so good. It comes with grilled corn salsa, butternut queso, sunflower sour cream, pickled onion and cabbage and scallions. And it's just a fun. Who doesn't love a taco, right? Such a fun one to serve. And the chickpea burgers are so easy to make. And we actually made these at the Hyatt. They made them for our conference and they called them chickpea patties. And they actually did a mushroom gravy over them. And everyone loved them. People were asking us for the recipe and we were able to give it to them. We say universalmeals.org. Check it out. Check it out. Come on now, check it out. Okay. Now at the entrees section. So a couple of the most popular ones from here. We've done the cauliflower and chickpea masala at a lot of universities and people love it. Actually, we scaled up a bunch of recipes with Meals on Wheels here in Atlanta. And this was one of the most popular ones that they did with their clients. And also they served it at a couple of events, I believe, and people loved it. And then we've also got our spinach and artichoke flatbread. So this is, you can get these great gluten-free pizza crust from Bonza. It's a chickpea pizza crust. And the base of this is made with white beans. And then you've got your spinach and artichoke in there, of course. So you bake that on top of the pizza crust. And then you put some roasted tomatoes on top of it, bake it a little longer. And then you drizzle it with some balsamic glaze to finish it off and sprinkle with some hemp parmesan, sunflower seed parmesan. You got a recipe for that in here in the staples section. So that's in here. But such a great flatbread addition to your flatbread repertoire. If you love a flatbread or a pizza, that's spinach and artichoke flatbread, because everyone loves spinach and artichoke dip, right? And now you're just putting it right on the crust and letting people have slices of it with that little tangy drizzle of balsamic. Ooh, I love it. All right, some other ones to mention in here. Better than takeout sweet and sour cauliflower. Now, when I say it's better than, I mean it's healthier than takeout. I also think it tastes a little better too, but I might be a little biased. We got a deluxe shells and cheese in here. This is made with our carrot and cauliflower cheese sauce. So a base of carrots and cauliflower and some other spices and yummy things in there. Creamy slow cooker chickpeas and rice casserole. Yum, yum. Eat your veggies bolognese. So this is a bolognese sauce made with a mixture of carrots, mushrooms, onions, celery, everything sort of like processed together to create a meat sauce, essentially a chunky meat sauce. So you've got an eat your veggies bolognese. You're getting your veggies in while you're eating your pasta. What better way to get your veggies in, right? Fast fettuccine alfredo. This is made with a cauliflower base, garden veggie meatballs. We've got a hummus and roasted vegetable flatbread with pesto. Now listen, I know people be like, oh, hummus, vegans. I didn't like hummus for the longest time. And I actually put this flatbread in here because I was reminded of a restaurant that I worked at like 20 years ago in New York. And we served a delicious flatbread that was a hummus flatbread with roasted vegetables on it. So this is my take on that. And maybe I just like it. Maybe I'm nostalgic, but like I like having a little hummus on a flatbread situation with some veggies on it. Love getting my veggies in. Speaking of, we got one pot mushroom stroganoff in here. We've got a roasted squash and cranberry brown rice risotto. Ooh, that's one of mine, and that's a very good holiday one. I love it. And then we've got a roasted vegetable enchilada with salsa verde, spaghetti squash primavera, and a sweet potato and black bean enchilada bake, Thai lemongrass curry, truffled butternut and broccoli brown rice risotto. It's another one of mine, and I'm not gonna lie, it's delicious. Universal not so meaty loaf. So this is a meatloaf that doesn't have any meat and is free of the top 9 allergens. I worked really hard on this meatloaf, and I'm very proud of it. When it sets for the right amount of time, the texture is just what you're looking for in a meatloaf. This is another one that Meals on Wheels in Atlanta did, actually, and it was very popular. And they tested a lot of these meals to be frozen, and so you could freeze it and then like it portioned out and then heat it up. And the meatloaf is one they did, the universal not so meaty loaf, one they did like that. And then it was so good reheated. I was like, this is insane. But it's kind of like, I guess in a way, you know how tofu, when you freeze it, then freeze it again, it has that like chicken texture, right? So maybe things happen when you freeze and unfreeze, you know? But I really love this universal not so meaty loaf, served with little mashed potatoes, little gravy, little broccoli. Ooh, it's a full dinner plate. We have some delicious vegan crab cakes in here that were contributed by our dear friend Janae Claiborne of Sweet Potato Soul. So yummy. They've got a base of chickpeas and hearts of palm, and then it's got a red pepper aioli with it as well. So that is a fun one to serve to people, vegans and non-vegans. Again, bringing something to the table that everyone can have really is the point of this. We've got a delicious vegetable lasagna with sunflower ricotta. So using sunflowers instead of cashews. And then now when I'm talking about sunflower seeds, I'm talking about just like when you get raw cashews, we're going unsalted, unroasted. Same for the sunflower seeds, unsalted, unroasted, that sort of thing. That way you can just plop them in place of whatever nut you're trying to replace, essentially. They require like a little extra when it comes to the blender, but hey, it's worth it in the long run if everybody at the table can have it, right? Veggie full nasi goreng, so a sort of sweeter fried rice, vegetable fried rice. And then we've got zucchini and yellow squash noodles with tomato sauce, garlic, and shallots. Yum, yum, yum. Those are our entrees. Now, that brings us to one of my favorites, dessert. We all know it. So first thing off the bat is chocolate chunk cookies with sea salt. I have literally handed these out to so many people at universities, and students have loved them. I have watched a student start to cry after getting this cookie, because we'll go to the universities, we'll say, hey, we've got, universal meals on your menu today, and some students stop and want to know more. And this one student in particular was like, oh, I can't have anything from there, I've got all these allergies. And she started listing off her allergies, and I was like, yeah, actually, this platform has recipes that are void of all these allergens, XYZ. And she was like, well, what about the cookie? And I was like, it's a universal meal. She took a bite, and then she started to cry. She was like, she just couldn't believe she could eat that day. And then I was like, and there's 2 entrees on the line today that you can actually have. And she was just so excited to be able to eat some of that day. So this program has really made a difference for a lot of people. Now, I will say, just like religion and anything else, you have to watch cross contamination with this food when you're making it. So it's not just plug it in and it's done. That's where we can help you if you want, email us at universalmeals@pcrm.org. We can talk to you about all that. But also, whoever's managing the kitchen, if it's an institution, they should know that they're avoiding cross contamination. And if you're making it at home, be smart. If you're making a bunch of allergen friendly food, you're okay. But if you're only making a couple recipes, have a counter space dedicated to it, a cutting board dedicated to it, all that good stuff like that. And you shouldn't have any problems. The cleaner you can space you can create to make these universal meals, the better, of course. We've got a coffee cake in here. Cranberry bliss bites. I do love these cranberry bliss bites. Another great one for the holidays. Flour. We got like four different kinds of brownies here, really, because we have a flourless brownie, a fudgy black bean brownie, a fudgy gluten-free brownie, and I think and then we've got a no-bake brownie bite. I say go for the no-bake brownie bite. I love them. They're delicious. We actually served this at an event at Santa Clara Public Health a few months ago, and people were obsessed with them. We got emails for the recipe after. Got a pineapple basil sorbet in here, and then a pumpkin cranberry spice crisp. So I did this last year in place of a pumpkin pie. I thought, why go the route of a gluten-free pie crust when we all know that's going to be like chewy and not awesome, right? So what about sort of an upside down pumpkin pie, essentially? So you bake this just like you would another crisp, and then it's got a crisp topping on it and cranberries on top. But if cranberries in your pumpkin are not your thing, you take the cranberries out. Don't even worry about it. Who cares? So what? So it is like a pumpkin pie with a crust on top, essentially, and it's so yummy. Quickie cinnamon rice pudding. You use leftover brown rice, you make some rice pudding with it. Couldn't be easier. It's very yummy. Seasonal fruit crumble with oatmeal cookie crust. This has been a popular one at universities. This was done by Spork Foods. They put it in here. It's so good. You can use any sort of seasonal fruit you want, and then it's got that oatmeal cookie crust on it. And then we've got snickerdoodle cookies in here, spiced vanilla rice pudding, strawberry rhubarb crumble. I was like insistent on adding that this summer, and I did. A triple berry no churn sorbet. And then we have a Universal Meals carrot cake. So a carrot cake that everyone can eat. I mean, I love some carrot cake. I'm here for it. All right, now we have some creamy. I'm sorry, that's the title of the first recipe in the category here. Condiments and staples. And this is sort of our last category. Lots of great stuff in here to set you up for success. A basic barbecue sauce, butternut queso, Caesar dressing, the carrot cauliflower cheese sauce I talked about, easy mushroom gravy, made in minutes marinara, marvelous mayo with a white bean and sunflower base, creamy sunflower dill dressing, oil-free chickpea croutons, pickled red onions and cabbage, presto pesto using some pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds for the base, of course with some basil too. And then we've got the pumpkin and hemp feta crumble. So that's made with pumpkin seeds. I was talking about that earlier. And then quinoa or buckwheat bacon bits, and quick strawberry chia jam, quick sunflower queso, tasty taco crumbles. And these tasty taco crumbles, you know how people make like walnut taco crumble? This is made with sunflower seeds, the pepitas again, and also some sun-dried tomatoes in there. We've got a sunflower sour cream, sunflower parmesan, and then to round it out here, we've got the shiitake bacon. Now, like I said, almost everything on universalmeals.org, you can do a oil-free option. Do not recommend it with this shiitake bacon. You really need that fat there to get the crispiness, to get the richness of the taste, to get that mouthfeel, all of it. You need that with the shiitake bacon. But beyond that one, everything else can pretty much be made oil-free. And that rounds out the categories for Universal Meals. So as you can see, you've got a wealth of recipes to choose from that are void of the top 9 allergens that almost anyone can have. And in addition to these categories, you've got the Chef Spotlight all in one category. So you can click on that, see who's contributed what. You don't have to go through all of the categories if you don't want to find those. You've got also a Thrifty category where all the recipes that are $1 or less per serving have been put into that. So you can just click on that button and all the least expensive recipes will be in there. And then we've got a whole section of scaled up recipes for institutions. So if I've had people come to me that say, oh, I want to, do something, this event, but the kitchen doesn't know how to do XYZ. do you have something available for them that's void of the top 9 allergens? And I'm like, oh, if you go to universalmeals.org, you go to recipes, you scroll to the bottom, you'll see a thing that says scaled recipes, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 categories there. Breakfast, appetizers, side dishes, salads, bowls, soups, stews, handhelds, entrees, and desserts that all have some scaled up recipes in there that you can take right to the establishment and say, hey, can you actually make this? Or you can even take them the home cook size. So if you want to choose any of those all have volume and weight measurements on it. So the restaurant or event company you're working with should be able to scale those up for you because they have the weights to make it for whatever number they need to make it for. But that, my friends, is Universal Meals. I do hope that this brings some joy to your holiday table this season. Holiday ones that I recommend: the not so meaty the universal not so meaty loaf. So the meatloaf. I think I should just rename that because every time I go, it's meatloaf. Not so meaty universal loaf, mashed potatoes, cornbread, 2 kinds of stuffings, green bean casserole, mac and cheese, the sweet potato and kale and greens mash. So right there, you got a bunch of choices for the holidays. You got that pumpkin crisp, which I promise you everyone will love. And it's nice. You can also put whipped cream on it still. Also, there's an oat milk whipped cream that is made at Target. So there you go. If you really are keeping it allergen friendly, you even got that oat milk whipped cream now. But there's some holiday options for you right there. But holidays and beyond, this is a great resource for you to put something on the table at a party for friends and families so that everyone has something to eat. Everyone has a space at the table. I so appreciate you joining me today. We got a few episodes left for you before we go on a little holiday break, and I'm looking forward to sharing those with you. Until then, keep on cooking. And hey, remember, it's nice to be nice. Please do us a favor and rate, review, and or subscribe to this podcast anywhere you're listening to it. The reviews really do help, and we really appreciate it. Also, remember, you can follow the podcast on Instagram at Keep On Cookin' Pod. You can also follow me at the Dustin Harder, and you can check out my website for my books and the Vegan Roadie web series and anything else you're interested in at dustinharder.com. This has been a Muzzy Cat production.